trial was being held, but Peter stayed outside, again, trying to conceal. He was afraid of what? Why Peter stayed out in the court outside? He did not want to be recognized because of what? Because maybe whatever they're doing to my master, they will do to me. He was afraid. And his love was quenched to protect himself. But you see, he never thought that he was going to descend to such a low point in such a short time. You see, screaming when they were buffeting and smacking Jesus in the face. You see, brothers and sisters, this is the same situation that may happen to us at any time, in any moment, if we are not close to Jesus. You see, even though they are going to scourge Jesus, you go next to him. Don't stay out in the crowd. Walk with him every day and you will not lie. The only way you will never lie is if you are constantly holding the hand of who? Next to Jesus, you can never lie. But if you let go and you mingle in with others, you will surely lie. See, the book of Revelation describes the people of God at the end of time. By the way, that's the time we're living. As impeccable. People of God are impeccable and of integrity, even at the risk of death and torture. You see, we enjoy our high-definition TVs and automatic transmission cars and even electric cars that they are selling out there. But the lie and dishonesty is not found in the mouth of those who follow the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no deceit, for they are without fault before the throne of God. This is Revelation 14:5. As the first fruits of those who have experienced the renewing power of the blood of the Lamb, God's people imitate and reflect the truthfulness of Christ in word and deed. This is the way they think the mind of Christ is in their mind. See, this is a great contrast between what people do out there and what Christians do. And you cannot hide it. You cannot hide that you're a Galilean and that your accent has changed. Peter's accent, even though he was a Galilean, had changed to the accent of Jesus Christ. And even when he was lying, he was actually speaking like who? And that happens with you and me when we walk a lot with Jesus. We copy him. By beholding, we become changed. Now, why do the scriptures again and again relate revival to truthfulness? It is because trust is the foundation of true relationships. I love my mom. She's sleeping. Helen, her name. You don't know her, but you will get to know her. For sure. Got too close there. Helen is very special. I never remember my mom lying as I was growing up. I cannot remember her lying to me. And I always admire her for that. You see, community and communion requires trust and honesty. There can be no genuine community among false people. We talked about community moments ago in the prayer, as I mentioned. The only way community and unity can exist is if there is trust and no lie can exist. Being dishonest with others falsifies us. Integrity sets us free with our brother or wife or colleague or friend. You see, we can look into the eyes of the other person when we speak. Amen. When we have communion, when we are united, when I speak to Cliff and Cliff looks at me in the eye to eye, we don't lie to each other. We trust each other without shame or guilt. We are made for each other and for God. You see, this photograph is here for a special reason. It's about 5 years old. It's Mildred's family. 5 years ago, Mildred's dad had been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And knowing that he was going to die, my father-in-law called this family meeting. It was in North Carolina. And there you have it. The whole family All the brothers, sisters, wives, with him. What you're going to say to him? You know what happens with someone with pancreatic cancer? I'm sorry. You see, I like to walk. What happens with someone that has pancreatic cancer? What is the life expectancy? It's very short. He was in stage 4 when they discovered him, this disease. And in less than a year, he was gone. Actually, this was about, I think it was Christmas. So in 5 months, he was sleeping. And he was in pain when we took his photograph. That's him. That's Mildred's dad and Mildred's mom. But when I remember he was, most of the time when we were celebrating and talking, he was in bed, in pain. And I walked into his bedroom trying to cheer him up. But you know, when someone knows that time is short, you cannot lie. What are you going to say? How you're going to talk to that person? You have to be very honest, don't you think? And that's exactly what we did that winter. The whole family looking at each other, trusting in each other. And this is the way we have to trust in Jesus, brothers and sisters. We have to look at him for what he did for us. But we have to look at each other also here in church as to why you're here, what you want to accomplish for Jesus. It's not for the pastor or each other. It's really, we belong to him, and we have to follow him, and we are here to do a job for him. And I don't want anybody here to go through what Peter went through that day. We have to be faithful and truthful. We have to continue praying for our brothers and sisters that I think at this very moment are also praying as we did, that we come together if that is God's will, and I think it is. Now, I don't know if you have read this book. Right away, someone said yes. You see, there are no exceptions or degrees of truthfulness. God requires that the truth mark his people, even in great danger. Not too many, not all of you have read this book, but this book is actually was written by Corrie ten Boom. And Corrie, we lived in a house in the Dutch country. This is during the Second World War when the Gestapo was going around searching for Jews. And it was unlawful to keep a Jew with you. So this family adopted into a hiding place they built. So good it was that for years, more than 3 years and a half, the Gestapo was not able to find that hiding place. And there were 6 Jews living with them. But the reason I bring this story, and by the way, that lady you see there is actually her. With the book she helped write when she became more mature and older. She had a sister, her name was Nolly. And the story, which is truthful, says that one day, after 3 years and a half, a Gestapo soldier came in and asked her, next to her was a young lady that was a Jew. And the Gestapo man asked her, is she a Jew? What would you answer? You know what Nolly did? She had the trust in God not to lie. And she said, yes, she is a Jew. Immediately, they took them both, Nolly to a nearby prison, and they basically sent this lady to, Annalise was her name, to a nearby, I would say,